Marvel's X-Men line and actually Marvel's superhero line has had a slew of cancellations over the last few years, and it doesn't get talked very much about by the mainstream media. And it's because most of the comics mainstream media is bought and paid for by Marvel and DC Comics. If you look at AIPT, ComicsBeat, they just show whatever the corporation says. That's exactly why I've been starting my own media, doing my own thing, talking about what's going on in comics. And comics are in huge trouble. A lot of books are just not making it at this point, and they're not making it very far into runs. They're now, you're lucky if you get 10 issues out of something. And we've seen that there's been reboot after restart. They're doing the same thing over and over again and making it and expecting different results with the same creative teams doing the same woke nonsense. And this is where Marvel Comics is at these days. It's a disaster. The only thing propping them up is the Ultimate Universe, because they just have Jonathan Hickman doing whatever Jonathan Hickman wants. And then there's a bunch of extra books that kind of fall off the tree for that. Because, if you want to get the whole Ultimate Universe, now you have to get Denny's Camp's Ultimates, which is a complete train wreck. As well. But the mainline universe is completely gone, and a lot of it's just because they just don't bother with continuity anymore. There's no editorial direction there. There's no editors who actually have vision for the company, and the company's not allowed to actually foster at this point because everything's losing so much money as it goes along. I mean, there's a pretty simple thing to do right here is fire everybody, restart things, hire some talent, don't try to flood the market with so many books. And start from scratch without these SJWs in there who are pushing the political agendas on everything. But unfortunately, that's who they've hired, and that's who they keep hiring, and they're going to keep doing it. Now, a bunch of new books are canceled, as you can see right here. We're going to get into this and what happened over the course of this video, guys. Thank you for being here. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Join us as we talk about all things in comics. Yeah, I'm doing what your boy Zach was supposed to do. And calling out the comic industry, calling out everything that's going on, because it's a big deal and it's still happening. It hasn't disappeared. Woke is not dead. They just don't advertise it to you as directly as they did in 2018, 2019. But Marvel and DC Comics are still completely off the rails with just these hateful people who hate half of America, and they just expect you to just buy the books just because you have a habit doing so. I have joined you, boy Zach. One thing, I started a TikTok, guys, because your boy Zach's really into TikTok, as you know. So I've been just doing some writing advice stuff and publishing talks here briefly on TikTok. Pretty good. I got almost 100 followers just in a week of doing this. I'll put this in the description below if you want to follow me on TikTok if you're there. And this is more important, though. I'm making my own comics, guys, and I'm posting here to this Substack. As you can see, we've got Flying Sparks coming up every day. I didn't post for the weekend here, but we'll be restarting on Monday and just getting new pages every single day. We're already on the second issue, so you can read a full issue and more here. Now, I've got some paid content. Extra Sensory is a book that I've done on Subscribestar, which is just exclusive for the people who are paid content, and this is going to be part of that as well. So you can support us here. You can just read, and that's what we need to do is get people reading independent comics and just talking about these books. Big stuff. I'm doing commentary videos and the like. Get on this Substack. It's in the description below. And thank you guys, everybody who's done so. It's grown so fast. And again, I've only started this about a week ago, and we're already at 120 subscribers, so doing pretty good. Should be up around 1,000 by the end of the year, which is the goal. And I appreciate you for being here. Sign up, guys, in the description below. Support our channel. All right, so here we are. Marvel is now canceling Daredevil, West Coast Adventures, News Champions, and leaving Magic and Psylocke's fate in question. It's not in question. They're going to be gone for sure. I can tell you that right now. Those are ones that they were pushing for some weird, of course, feminist and LGBTQ agenda stuff, and those have not been doing well whatsoever for Marvel. The X-Men relaunch has been a complete disaster up and down the line. I've talked to retailers, and they are just livid with what happened. Now, if you don't know, in 2024, they relaunched the entire X-Men line, starting with all new number ones, yay! And already a bunch of those have been canceled. Thankfully, NYX with Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly has been canceled. Unfortunately, they were given this mini event where there's all these giant size books, and they're all number one first issues for you to buy. So I'm sure those did okay because they said number one on them. stupid concept again where they were inserting Muslim Miss Marvel into all of Marvel history into the X-Men events and the like. It's just painful stuff. They even had Kevin Smith doing the Spider-Man one, which I've already covered in another video. Go watch that because it's ridiculous. So as they say here, Marvel Comics doesn't like to let you know when they've canceled their comic books, and that's the thing. They just don't talk about it. It just happens. It's never in the media, so you don't know what's going on. And that's it. What's the point? Sometimes it becomes obvious, such as when titles suddenly are missing from the schedule. New Champions here only made it to 8 issues. And look at these characters here. Of course it made it to 8 issues. Like, I mean, who wants to buy that, right? West Coast Avengers is 10, Psylocke 10, all missing from September solicits. Have they been canceled or just skipping a month? I can tell you they're canceled. That's probably it. 10 is a notable one. Marvel president Dan Buckley said that all titles would get at least 10 issues to prove themselves, which is pretty interesting on that level. And a lot of these have not even gotten to that point. But here's the deal. Once they start hitting that 10-issue mark and whatnot, people don't just come in and pick up number 11. You just keep dwindling sales and dwindling sales and dwindling sales until they have to remove it and then just start dropping things. Weapon X-Men were dropped in half that. It was gone, as is said here. And these get canceled pretty often with issue number 10. So these are all gone right here. And now Daredevil number 25 is shown as a finale for the run here that was done by Saladin Ahmed, I think is the guy's name, who is brought in again to be a Muslim representative and the like. What's interesting is the beginning of this run started pretty interesting as he was actually exploring Matt Murdock's faith, and Matt Murdock was actually becoming a Catholic priest for a little bit, and unfortunately he just like reverted and reset everything, and I tuned out pretty quickly. It actually did things pretty good on that level to start, and it just went off the rails. And then, of course, Marvel also just nuked this book on a second level because they came out with a second book that just was titled Daredevil also, except for it was Elektra dressed as Daredevil. And it's like, okay, so you have 2 books named Daredevil. It's confusing. Nobody wants to keep up with that. Everybody hates it when they make this like female replacement character version of things. Just let her be Elektra. And they just can't do that. And so doing that all at the same time, of course, just like stalled out the run. And that was going on. So here we are. Helverine, also up to number 10, is there. And then there's Magic and all these. These are going to be very, very gone. I can tell you that right now. There's no way that these are happening. So I would be most surprised, Rich Johnson says, if Magic was canceled with number 10s. These things do happen for a manner of reasons. I wouldn't be, because who's reading that? Nobody's reading these X-Men lines. Nobody's checking these out whatsoever. And so this is pretty interesting as it's going along right here. And Tom Brevoort said, my denying rumors isn't likely to keep anybody who's prone to paranoia from panicking. Why would people be panicking if all these things are happening? What do you mean paranoia? At this point, it's very obvious that the line's not healthy. They're not doing well. They're not even able to like sustain 10 issues. That is a big deal for Marvel Comics and should be checked out at this point. So yes, there it goes. Absolutely crazy that this is going on at this level. So this is it as well. And this was all confirmed years later by Jonathan Hickman, what was going on with Fantastic Four and them canceling it. But this is where we are. Rich Johnson claims Magic sells well. I doubt that. I doubt that at all. And so we'll see what happens if that goes away or it doesn't at this level. And we have the same thing. There was a Phoenix 11. Stephanie Phillips was brought in. She's a disaster of a writer. Phoenix is awful, if you don't know. And that was going for a while. But, all of these are going to get canceled sooner rather than later. We'll see what's going on. Who's Ashley Allen? I don't even know who that is. This is pretty interesting stuff to see that there's more stuff that's just missing from solicits, that Marvel's just kind of testing these waters. And, I think these lines are going to be stopping, a lot of them. And I don't think Disney's going to be picking them back up. I know that they do eventually, because Disney wants to just license this stuff out, and so does Warner Brothers. There's going to be a point where it doesn't make sense to run your own publishing division like this stuff just to keep it going. And we're going to see these characters start to get licensed out. I don't know what point that's going to just completely happen. The comic shop model is continuing to decline. There's going to be a point where it's not sustainable anymore. What point is that, and how long will it take to get to that point? We don't know. Leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Please hit the like and subscribe button. I guess follow me on TikTok, my friends. Funny stuff. And also grab the Substack. This is where we're making comics and doing very, very well. Thanks for being here, guys, and thanks for supporting the Substack. We'll be back soon.